First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ, whose name in the Paleo Hebrew is Hamashiach Yahushua. I'm LAMAK of the Service Assembly, coming at you with a three-piece on they hate us because they ain't us, right? Because a lot of these other nations, they come into our neighborhoods, they come into our homes, they shoot us dead in the street for stealing water. They do all these different things to us, man. Sell us drugs, cigarillos and blunts and all these different things, and sell us all these high gravity liquors to keep us in derision, man. You know what I mean? They don't sell these different things in their neighborhoods, but they sell us all the high gravity alcohol, all the high gravity liquor, all the things to keep our mind from knowing who we are in these last days, man. So they hate us because they ain't us, right? It's the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired, man. Because we're a nation that's not desired. People want to be us to themselves at home. When they're at home, they practice the way we move, the way that we are, the way we carry ourselves, right? The way we cook, the way we dance, the way we sing, the way we rap. All these different things are money. It's all money. It's a money-making thing. And all these nations want to be us until the police come, right? But we still a nation not desired because our lives don't mean anything in these last days, man. Our lives are counted as madness pursuant to the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. They're going to look at us when we're being delivered in these last days, and they're going to be amazed at the strangeness of our salvation in these last days, man. Because right now we're just looked at as roadkill, man, or a person to be put in jail at a young age for defending themselves pursuant to the brother Carmelo Anthony, right? And the brother Cyrus who was shot by one of these heathens in the back for stealing water. What other nation you know can get shot in the back and then the person that shot him still escaped from prison, man? But Carmelo Anthony was protecting himself, and they jumped him, and he's now serving 35 years in Texas, right? It reads, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you. So right, gather together, keep the commandments. Show your brother how to keep these feast days. Show him, make it easier for him in these last days, because guess what? The Most High is coming back very soon. And when he's coming back, he's going to get the wicked of our people, and he's also going to get the wicked of these other nations. You so-called Chinese man, you so-called white man, you so-called Muslim man, right? Which is of Ishmael. All these nations have a decree against the chosen people of the Most High. Everywhere you look, everywhere you lift up a rock, you're finding information on the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans being the chosen people of God. You can't get around it. There's nothing that you can do. The scripture said there's nothing that you can do against the truth but for the truth. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrote this judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be, ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger. So if you start keeping these commandments and eating right and doing all these things the Lord told his chosen people, it's a chance that you might be hid in them last days. It's a chance that you might not get your head cut off by the guillotine in these last days. These so-called white people don't come in your house and try to rape your woman and destroy you in these last days. Because that's what it's coming to. It's coming to martial law. It's coming to people's rights being revoked. Hey, we can't even say anything online anymore. Depending on what I say, this video might not come up, right? So they hate us because they ain't us, right? It's the book of Psalms, chapter 73 and verse 5. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. The so-called white man in these other nations, they're not in trouble the same way we're in trouble, right? For doing the same thing, the so-called white man may not make it, he may not go to jail. But we may turn around and do the same thing and wind up doing 35 years. Kyle Rittenhouse went across two different states and a bunch of different counties and shot 2 people and almost killed another one. He was underage, he couldn't have that gun that he had, which was an illegal rifle. He was able to do those things and still escape prison. But Carmelo Anthony can protect himself from being destroyed. Oh, you know what? Maybe it would have been okay if he would have allowed them to destroy him, because you can die from a beating as well as anything else. You can get beat to death. But he decided to protect himself, and now he's paying because we live in Babylon the Great, which everything is flipped backwards. The good is evil and the evil is good. So now to do evil, you get GoFundMes. To be a racist, you get GoFundMes. You get all these different things, right? But to do good, our people and these other nations know anything about it, right? It reads, therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covered them as a garment. So violence is easy for the so-called white man and these other nations to be violent against us. Every time they do something just about, they get away with it. Now, some of them slip through the cracks and they might go to jail, but once they get in that prison, we really don't know what's going on with them. We really don't know if they let them out and sent them to somewhere else that we don't know where they are, right? We don't really know where Derek Chauvin is. We don't really know if Epstein is dead. We don't know any of these things. We think we know something. But one thing we do know is a so-called black man, which is an Israelite according to the Bible, which name is Carmelo Anthony, is now sitting at 19 years old to do 35 years for protecting himself from for the devil, which is the so-called white man that the Bible speaks of, man. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than their heart could wish, man. So they got this nation unjustly. They got this country unjustly, yet they still want more. Their eyes stand out with fatness. Pursuant to the book of Obadiah, I believe 1 and 5, it says, will grape gatherers gather until they had enough? You've already got this country. You raped, robbed, and murdered to get it, but you're still killing the people of the land and the people that you brought to the land to till this land. You're still doing it. Pursuant to the book of Amos 1, and I believe it's 1 and 11, it says that the Most High will not return the punishment of Esau Edom, which is the so-called white man, because he did pursue his brother Jacob with the sword, man. And he had no pity on him, man. They don't have no pity on us. They don't have no pity on the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man. It's so easy to just kill us and leave us in the street like roadkill, man. But we have to gather together as a people in order to make ourselves strong. We have to start putting money towards each other. I don't care if it's $5 or $10. It all add up. If 1,000 people put $5, that's 5,000, right? It really saddens me that these other nations are able to come together and we can't never come together on nothing, man. Only thing we do is disagree with each other and shoot each other down dead in the street, man, right? I'm not saying to shoot nobody down dead, these other nations, but let that be your first mind before doing some harm to the people that's in the same curses that we're in, pursuant to the book of Deuteronomy 28 and 68 and Deuteronomy 15 on down, right? But we want those curses from Deuteronomy 28 and 1 on down to 15. We want those, Shalaki, not curses, but we want those gifts. But right now we going through those curses, man. Get the book of Psalms chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. So the enemies of the Lord is these heathen nations. You so-called white folks, you other nations. The Most High is finna run them down so that in these last days we'll know who these people are. Because they changed the names, they changed the countries, they changed the states. They gave themselves different names like Chinese and Japanese and Irish and white and Scottish, all these other nations, man. But that's not what the Lord called them according to the Bible, man. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. So what is that crafty counsel? They brought us in over here on cargo slave ships. That's crafty counsel. They set up an almost all-white jury against Carmelo Anthony and these other nations that also don't give a damn about us. It ain't just the white man. These Elamites, which you so-called East Indians, you Ishmaelites, you so-called Muslims, You so-called, you fake Egyptians, all you other nations, y'all don't give a damn about us either, and the Most High finna say that. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thine hidden ones. So who's the hidden ones? Who's the hidden ones? The hidden ones are the ones that don't know who they are in these last days. The ones that don't know that it's a chance to get this kingdom by coming back, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, stop being niggas, stop being whores, stop being thoughts, stop being all level of wickedness, man, and stop trying to copy these other nations and marry into these other nations and trust in the value of your own stock. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no longer in their remembrance. So that's what they trying to do. This so-called rap music, Adrian Broner and Dina Great, all these different things are there just to corrupt our minds and take us away from the truth, right? So that we can't remember that we Israelites in these last days. You keep sending all these Christian apologists to debunk us, and you're not able to, because you can't do nothing against the truth but for the truth. They even got some of our own that's going against the truth, and the Most High got them falling off like flies, man. So it's over with for that. The Most High ain't got no time for none of you flaky jokers, man. You gotta come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American and Seminole Indians, man. Because we all one people, but we gotta believe that. And we gotta come back, we gotta start fighting for each other, man, and stop being Negroes and thoughts out here, man. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. So what does it mean? You see that Confederate flag, that shows a divide between one people and another people. But the Bible said that these other nations on the earth are confederate against us, which means they're separate against us, which means they don't see things the way we see them. We keep voting for all these presidents that don't look like us, man. We start voting for all these presidents like Barack Obama, you think because he a little light-skinned that he our people. But he's an African man. We're not inherently African. We were brought into Africa from Spain, Portugal, Israel, all those different places. Look the history up yourself. Look up the swarthy Jew. That's us. We the people. We the people that's in the Bible. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. Because we look like each other don't make us all the same. That's a very ignorant thought to have. But this is the ignorance that the so-called white man has poured into these other nations and also poured into our people, man. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. So Edom, according to the Bible, if you go in the book of Genesis, it says Edom is Esau, or Esau is Edom. That is the so-called white man according to the Bible. The Ishmaelites, that's your Muslims, those so-called Muslims, which are Ottoman Turks. Those are your new Muslims. The ones that's with the beard, they kind of look like us a little bit. They selling us cigarettes, selling us Black and Milds, weed crushers, glass roses so we can smoke crack. They selling us charboy so that we can go put the char down in the glass and smoke crack. These are all the things that these other nations are doing against us, but we don't see it. But they smack dab right in the middle of our neighborhoods. And they're trying to get your wife while you at home, while you at work. You send your wife to the store, you send her with $2, she come back with a pack of cigarettes, a 6-pack, a 12-pack, and some snacks for the kids. You wondering, but damn, I just sent her with $2. Why? Because she had to go, she did something strange for a little bit of that change, man. These other nations, that's one thing too. These other nations don't love us so-called black men, but they love our women until they don't love them no more, and then they wind up floating up in the pool, right? Belly up, or they wind up somewhere stretched out. And these other nations, again, just like the book of Psalms said, they're not in trouble like other people. They're not in trouble like us. They're not gonna go to jail for that. They'll do it again. And the more they're able to get away with it, the more that they're gonna do. So brothers need to get prepared, gather together for this race war, because it is coming. They're making it happen. They want a reason to kill us so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what they want, man. Moab and the Hagarenes, which he had with his own daughter, which came out with Down syndrome, right? You so-called Chinese and you so-called Japanese. All those other in-between Asian nations are nothing. It's only two nations. It's the Chinese and Japanese. They can call themselves what they want to, but it come from the two sons that Lot had with his daughters when his daughters got him drunk and dealt with him and got two children by him. The blood was so thick. That's why they look the way they look. All of them look the same. That's a form of Down syndrome. If you look at a lot of Down syndrome kids, they're very flexible. And you look at these the so-called Chinese man, Japanese man, they're all very flexible because it's almost like having a perfect, what you call, like the so-called white man, which we call the perfect albino. The more they start dealing with each other, the more they perfect that bloodline. And they perfected that over years. So they're able to do a lot of different things, but it still comes from a strong bloodline that started between started between Lot and his daughters when they came out of Sodom and Gomorrah, man. So it's only two nations, but the Most High is saying that these nations are confederate against us. The Hagarenes is an African nation. There's many African nations that the Most High is going to speak about. The Hagarenes, the Girgashites, the Tyre, all these are all African nations. Africa is a very big continent, right? It's actually the biggest continent. But of course, the so-called white man will lie to you about that and try to make Europe or Asia and all these other nations look bigger than Africa, man, right? But that's neither here or there. Gabal and Ammon. Gabal is another African race. Ammon, which would be your so-called Japanese man, right? The Chinese man that killed Cyrus, I think his name was McCormack, right? He's a so-called Chinese man. He would be a Moabite according to the Bible, right? A Japanese man would be Ammon. There's only two Asian nations. The rest of them are just splits of those two nations. But it's still bloodline-wise, it's only two. The Philistines were an African race. And the inhabitants of Tyre, those are another African race. Tyre is actually the ones who sold us over to the Grecians, which is the so-called white man, right? They helped bring us over. So no, we didn't sell ourselves. The African man sold the Israelite man over to the Grecians, which is the so-called white man, which is the new Grecians, because the actual Grecians were your Minoans, which would go back to what you would call your Samoans today. Your Samoans and all those Polynesians, those are your original Greeks, right? Just something to look up. Don't take my word for it, right? This is the book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, I'll start at 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, man. So what does it mean when it says their infants are slain in the street? Cyrus was slain in the streets. That's an infant, man. Emmett Till is an infant. The young brother in Salakia, it escapes my name, but the brother that was walking with the Skittles and the Arizona iced tea, their infants are slain in the streets. Our infants are getting put to death by these other nations and ain't nobody doing nothing about it. But the Lord said that he's gonna come back and do something about it, because we are the people, according to the Bible, that will go through these things, man, for not keeping the commandments of the Lord, pursuant to Deuteronomy 28 and 15 on down, man, and a number of other precepts. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. So the Lord has enemies. Esau, Edom, which is the so-called white man, is the Lord's enemy. You can find it in Malachi 1 and 4. You can find it in the book of Job 9 and 24. It's all over the Bible that Esau, Obadiah went on down. The so-called white men, according to the Bible, the Most High is not dealing with them, right? We the people. The whole world is based off Esau and Jacob. We would be the Jacobites and he would be the Esauites. Her young men with the sword of the enemy, man. So we're slain with the sword. What's the sword? That's the gun. Now back in the day, it was an actual sword. But that's a metaphor to describe now, because this is prophecy. The sword is any type of weapon that's used in this time to kill the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, woman, and child, man. So there was prophecy that this would happen for us not keeping the laws. What nation hath not a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? So what nation has not robbed and killed us so far, man? What nation has not had a hand in stealing from us, man? If it ain't nothing but our style, if it ain't nothing but the way we dress, man, if it ain't nothing except how we cook or our women dress, man, if it ain't nothing but that, what nation hath not a hand in killing us and stealing from us, man? What nation can you say that? Pursuant to the book of Psalms 83:1 is describing every nation that will have a hand in it, man, which is the so-called Chinese man, which is the so-called Muslim man, right? Which is the Japanese man. And even sometimes our own women helps. Because right now, it's supposed to be boycott. You go to the nail salon, it's a bunch of our women, a bunch of our so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American women still inside these shops, shopping with these people, man. What all do they have to do to show you that they don't like you in these last days? The Most High has showed you, pursuant to the book of Psalms 83, that these nations will have an issue with us, man. So we gotta come together. We gotta stop going against each other. We gotta stop shopping. What is it gonna take for us to stop barbecuing and bullshitting all the time, man? What is it gonna take for us just having fun all the time and not coming back to our own people and not showing love to our own people, right? We are the chosen people that the Most High is talking about. We the only nation in the world that goes through all these travesties, all these curses, man. So at the end of the day, we gotta come back. We gotta stop being Negroes out here. We gotta stop being hoes and thoughts, man. We gotta come back and we gotta start being the chosen people that the Lord is speaking of, man. Or else these other nations gonna keep putting their foot on our neck. You so-called Chinese man, you so-called Japanese man, you so-called Muslim man, selling us rats, selling us dogs, selling us obscene creatures, man, in our neighborhood, man. Yeah, it's hot out here, man, but the Lord's fire is gonna be even more hotter than anything that can happen in these last days, man. So with that, I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus the Christ, whose name in the Paleo Hebrew is Hamashiach Yahushua, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. I'm gonna say shalom.